So we're going to get started. Thank you guys so much for being here. My name is Lori Ann Spagna. Thank you. For more than 20 years, I've been helping humans and animals to really awaken to the true divine source within us and to recognize ourselves as God beings incarnate, which is what we are. We are all divine creator beings aligned with the true divine source of infinite love, infinite wisdom, infinite potential, infinite happiness, infinite joy, infinite health, infinite well-being. And it's time for us to awaken and claim that truth about all of us. There's no one that it is not, and there's nowhere that it is not. It is in and through and around each and every one, including inanimate and non-physical objects, which maybe they don't identify themselves with consciousness in the same way. But the divine source of consciousness is floating, being, existing in, through, and around everyone. There's nowhere that it's not. And that's really what I've been doing for 20 years now, helping humans and animals to align with this source with our own inner knowing. And the way that I do that basically is I help us all to clear, heal, and resolve all of our, what I call third dimensional belief systems, beliefs, points of view, perspectives, ideologies, energies, frequencies, vibrations, points of view, whatever they are, that's stuck in our conscious and our unconscious that keeps us in a belief system that somehow we're separate from one another and from this divine source, right? So as we clear, heal, and resolve all this stuff, we come into more full alignment with our true divine source creator beingness, and we start sharing that, being of service and loving ourselves and everyone else more and more, yeah? And then the world, bit by bit, turns into a better place. Make sense? So this is what I do. Okay, I want to give you just a really brief overview, and then I want to go into good content, because I like to pride myself on giving really good content. And the only thing I just need is I need some water, so I have it. Yeah, so I'm a healer. You could call me a healer. I use healing frequencies and healing energies and vibrational energy healing to do healing practice. Hello, come on in. Fifth dimensional living. And I am an intuitive, which you could use the word psychic, but I don't always use that word so much because it's such a misrepresented, misaligned word, and I'm not so much in the business of predictions because I believe we're creating, co-creating, and changing our reality each and every moment. It's always changing and in flow. But yes, you could use the word psychic, intuitive, empath. I'm an empath. Anyone in here an empath? Super sensitive, can sit next to someone, feel everything, know what they're going through. If you're really super psychic, you can kind of know their life story, and you're just like, okay, it's none of my business, but I got it, thank you, right? Animal communicator. Anyone actively engaged in animal communication and telepathy? Okay, that's where I kind of got my start in a way, because the animals were teaching me in my earliest stages. And then I'm a multidimensional channel, which means I can access at least up to 12 dimensions of consciousness. And I can, what my best strength is these days is I seem to be able to be very good at accessing information from the non-physical realm, receiving it in what I call downloads, or sometimes it's straight communication, just straight dialogue with the non-physical realm, and I'm translating it in ways that make sense to us in this physical reality, to help us better understand and navigate our reality so we can more fully align with this divine source that we really are. Make sense? And when I work with 12 dimensions of consciousness, sometimes it's angels, sometimes it's ascended masters, but always, my true path is always to access the highest, clearest, purest frequency of consciousness, which is true divine source, the original creator of all that ever was, all that ever is, all that ever will be. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to assist as humanity is awakening to this true divinity within us that we all are. Make sense? As we come out of what I'm going to talk about today, third dimensional consciousness, and as we expand and elevate our frequency into fifth dimensional consciousness. Make sense? Yeah. Everyone with me? Yes. Okay. So, thank you, Karen. Now I understand why they said for us to talk quieter when we were in the hallway. All right. So, what I want to do is just tell you, if you don't already know me, and even if you do, Karen, my amazing and wonderful assistant, friend, student, fellow lightworker, starseed, is moving around with a clipboard. But you can also, if you want, I'm just going to tell you this real fast before I get into the content. You can go to my website at lorispagna.com/free gifts. And you will get so many free gifts. You will love them. Number one, you'll get a class on what is your DNA. We'll hopefully get to that today, talk about that because it's an important aspect of elevating into 5D. You'll get a free class on learning how to develop your intuitive psychic abilities. You'll get a free class on learning animal communication and telepathy. You will get a free class on energy healing. And you'll get a free class on learning if you're really a star seed, what that means. Does anyone know what a star seed is in here? Okay, it's just another language for how we identify ourselves, right? We identify ourselves as mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, workers, colleagues, whatever labels, it's another label. And it's basically a label I use to identify myself, and it basically, I label myself as someone who was brought here by benevolent beings of the star family races. We are from star family races, benevolent star family races, who are here embodied on planet, seated on planet Earth to help awaken and shift humanity's consciousness as we elevate into this fifth dimension. Yeah? Make sense? So that's where I'm starting. I'm a star seed, and I believe many of the people in the room are, or else you wouldn't even be here. Okay, so let's talk first about, let's start with 3D. So we've been living in third dimensional consciousness, yeah? What does that mean to you guys? Third dimensional consciousness. Density, okay, so what does that mean? Scarcity. Fear. Heavy. Duality. Yes, you guys are right on it, right? So in third dimensional reality, these are the things we experience. Come on in. These are the things we experience in third dimensional reality. We experience separation. I'm separate from you. The United States is separate from Russia. This one's separate from that. And what we do here has no effect on anyone else. In fact, we're separate from the other planets. There's all separation. I'm separate from my dog. You're separate from your cat. And what we do have no impact on anyone else. No effect. In fact, I can hate on you and you're not going to feel it. And it's not going to affect me either, because I'm separate from my own thoughts. I'm separate from my own emotions. In fact, we can get sick in third dimensional reality, and I'm separate from my body. I didn't cause it, right? In third dimensional reality, we get sick. Oh, we believe in illness. We believe in disease. We believe in lack. We believe in limitation. I call planet Earth in third dimensional reality the planet of lack and limitation, because we were experiencing separation. We decided to have an experience. We're creator beings, and we decided to have an experience of separation and unconsciousness. So we played in this game of third dimensional reality. But we made a marker point when we would all wake up. And what was the marker point? Who knows what the marker point was? Anyone? 2012. So 2012 was a marker point that star seeds and all the collective star nation races, including humanity on Earth, said this is going to be a marker point that everybody will somehow resonate with. And at this marker point, everybody is going to start to wake up based on whatever their soul, their unique soul, needs to kind of go through. And this wave, this waking up will happen in waves. Waves, so that, because not everybody can wake up at the same time, because everybody thinks they're going crazy. So we'll have some people who keep the old third dimensional reality anchored in place, so they hold it in place as the ones in the front, the head of the line, the first wavers, start to wake up first and say, hey, here's the light. That place kind of sucks now that we're waking up. Come on, follow me. And then you have these people in the middle who are like, okay, they're the bridge. They're second wavers, yeah? Does it make sense? Yes. So I kind of call myself here in the first wave. But the thing that's important to understand, thank you. What's really important for us to understand is there's no better or worse. We're just at different points in the journey, right? All helping one another to awaken. All right, so now we understand basically what goes on in 3D. We've been living in it our whole lives. And by the way, we've been kind of living in it for 26,000 years or something like that, right? And now we understand we're in this process of waking up. So just for the purposes of definition, here's how I describe, without talking more about what 3D is. It's based on 3 dimensions of reality. What are the 3 dimensions? Past, present, future. No, but that's a concept of third dimensional reality, which is true. Time's not really in there, but that's a concept of third dimensional reality. Okay, so here's third dimensional reality. Space. Actually, let's start at the beginning. First was the word. So a lot of people think first was the sound. And the sound that created was right? So if people believe first was the sound, that's not my higher knowing. My higher knowing is first was the light. So light, from my perspective and everything I have from my higher consciousness, is that light was the first dimension of reality. All there is light. Let there be light. Then the second dimension was sound. So we experience those. And third dimension is space. Height, width, depth, separation. That's third dimensions. That's the first three dimensions. What's the fourth dimension? Feeling. Okay, fourth dimension is everything non-physical that you can conceive of. It's concept. It's non-physical. So think about this. It's real. Thoughts, feelings, someone said feelings, emotions, beliefs. Where do your beliefs come from? Where do they go? Where do your thoughts come from? Where do they go? What about emotions? They're not just exclusively here, because if I feel love for even 10 seconds and just smile at you with my love, you're going to pick it up within less than 10 seconds, right? Yep. Yeah. So it's not just physical to me, the emotion. We can share that, right? So emotions are on the fourth dimensional reality. What else is in fourth dimension? Non-physical stuff. Angels. They don't really live in fourth dimension. They live, so to speak, they reside in a higher dimensional frequency, but they can come into fourth dimensional reality because we can connect with them there, right? Benevolence who've crossed over. How do we connect with people and animals who have crossed over? Fourth dimensional reality. We're accessing a field of non-physical reality from our physical reality. We're connecting with higher realms, dimensions of reality through a fourth dimension. Make sense? Yeah. So this fourth dimension has all these non-physical things, ghosts, it's all in there. And in fact, religion has a word for it. What does religion call it? Astral. The astral realm, absolutely. But that's not so much religion's word. Purgatory. Because if you cross over, you're not meant to stay there. It's like a passageway. You're meant to move on to higher, lighter frequencies of reality, yeah? Higher dimensions, so to speak. Higher is just relative, by the way. So, but it is lighter in frequency, right? Because everything's energy, right? So this is what goes on in 4D, and this goes on in 3D too, what I'm about to say. We have what's called, one of the laws of the universe, polarity. Polarity. Yes, no, good, bad, right, wrong, up, down. These are all examples of polarity, yeah? And over here, we experience it in a big way. I'm not you, you're not me, we're polarized. Good people, bad people, things are okay, things are not okay, right? That's polarity. In fourth dimension, polarity exists too. So in fourth dimension, on the heavier, denser aspect of fourth dimensional reality, there's one kind of polarity, and then all the way on the other extreme in fourth dimension, there's the other polarity. So what would be an example of a polarity within 4D? How about love, hate, or joy, fear, right? Duality. Yeah, duality still exists there. Entities, demonics. Who ever felt like you got it by an entity? Yeah, they're real. Okay, but they hang out down here in a very heavy, dense realm of fourth dimensional reality. And if we connect with them, we can play with them if we want. Might not feel like play, but that's what it is. Okay, on the higher, lighter, polarized edge of fourth dimension, we have angelics, we have benevolent beings, ascended masters. So again, they don't live here, but they can enter through here, right? And we have higher, lighter frequencies of love, happiness, joy, bliss, all those wonderful energies that we all want to experience. Make sense? Okay, now what's going on in 5D?
Unity consciousness.
Yes. Yes, love. Yes. The I am presence, the aspect of us that starts to know ourselves as God, creator beings of love. So the idea is, here's what I'm saying to get into sort of start aligning with fifth dimensional frequency. And let me just make this very, very clear. It's not outside of us. It's within us. So if I go into, for an example, if I go into an inner state, I just wake up on the wrong side of the bed, so to speak, and now just for the moment I get up, damn, this sucks, I'm going to have a terrible day, this sucks, blah, 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 blah. I start hanging out down here in the heavy, dense realm. Start feeling bad. If I'm mad at my boss or my mother-in-law or anything like that, I start feeling really, really bad, dense, heavy. I'm in the polarized aspect of the heavy energies that are in 4D. That also, by the way, makes me more susceptible to entities, demonics, and other heavy, dense things, because I'm hanging out down here, right? Makes sense, right? Now, if I, because I know I have some consciousness, actively engage in bringing myself to the higher frequencies of fourth dimension, I'm happy. I don't care what happens today. I'm going to have a great day. I'm working with my own consciousness. Okay, if something upsets me, I'm going to clear it out. I'm going to address it. I'm not going to go into denial. I'm not going to pretend it didn't happen. That's just denial. I'm going to process through it. If someone, upsets me, I'm going to work through it. I'm going to clear through it, but I'm going to keep working towards keeping myself aligned with love, peace, happiness, joy, all these higher frequencies. Now I'm hanging out here. Do you know that an entity, a demonic, this heavy energy can't get to you over here? Now you start playing with ascended masters. Now you're only hanging out with the angels. And now you start anchoring more fully into this fifth dimensional living. Now all of a sudden, what happens when you start living in 5D?
It's harder to accept 3D.
Well, you have to move through acceptance to anchor into 5D. You're out of rejection. What is the polarity of acceptance? In fifth dimension, in the polarized aspect of fourth dimensional energy, over here you have acceptance. It's at the very high frequency of 4D, yeah? Over here you're going to have resistance, reaction, and judgment. So if I'm not in acceptance already, I can't pass through acceptance. Acceptance is one of the fourth dimensional frequencies that will stand at the door to 5D, so to speak, and say, oh no, until you're in total acceptance of all this, you can't really reside here. I can't even really let you through because acceptance is a part of the gateway. Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So we have to look at all that and say, all right, I might not totally agree with it. I might not totally agree with, Trump, dictator, tyrannist. I might not totally agree with rape of whatever is going on here. But I can accept it as part of the experience of third dimensional reality and what we created in unconsciousness. Make sense? We have to work through that. That's our own inner resistance, yeah? But so what happens over here, when you start anchoring in 5D, and it starts to happen even way before you anchor in 5D, is your greatest gifts start to come online. They start coming online when you're passing through 4D. Believe me, you can't talk to ghosts or entities or angels or benevolence or people who have crossed over unless you're already passing through these realms of 4D, right? But in 5D, they're anchored in. You are. Your gifts are on. Most of your gifts have started to activate so fully. So over here in 5D, everyone's a psychic. No one's not a psychic. Everyone's a healer. No one's not a healer. Everyone in 5D is serving the greater good of the collective because we understand our mission here is to help everybody wake up to this wonderful stuff. Everyone's a healer. Everyone's a psychic. Everyone's an animal communicator. We all have these gifts. It's more like, am I choosing that? And if we think we don't have it, we're just working on clearing out our blocks. Because the blocks only hang out down here. They're just what pull us back in here, where we think we don't have it. Make sense? Everyone with me? All right, any questions? Well, I got a lot out in just a very short period of time. I talk fast. Okay. Well, that's an interesting question. It's a really good question. Here's what I would suggest. That judgment is a frequency of right and wrong and good and bad. And the higher frequency over here, judgment transcends into discernment, where we say, I don't judge it as good or bad. However, I recognize it's a lower frequency. It's not what I choose to engage in anymore. See? Can you see? It's not that you let them do whatever. It's that you start to recognize that over here, in a different frequency and vibration, you actually have more power to make a difference. You actually can totally transform things that happen there because you have so much great power, but not power over, not the old idea of power. Over here, power is control, dominance, manipulation, greed. Over here. Over here, power is the gifts of God to be of service in the highest and best way for the highest and greatest good of all concerned with harm to none. Yes, you're aligning with your true. That's right. However, the power is even greater than your spirit because you're aligned with the incredible frequencies, energies, and vibrations that are capable of transforming lives. Not just as individuals, not just one at a time, but collectives, planetary changes. So the changes we're seeing on planet Earth, and while some of them may look very dark and shadowy, I can assure you that the changes are happening because we're letting go of that stuff and we're watching it drop. Because the light workers, the way showers, the starseeds, whatever terminology we use to define ourselves, we're just aligning with God, sovereign beings, claiming our dominion over our bodies, over our minds, saying, I will no longer be programmed by these bullshit belief systems over here that say I'm sick, I'm going to die, I have mesothelioma, I'm going to get sclerosis, I need to go give my power to my doctor, my lawyer, my teacher, my veterinarian, because they all know better. No, that's not true. So we come over here and we start anchoring in this energy. We realize how much power we have. We can shift and transform it for the collective, the whole. So we don't sit there without morality. We actually have a higher sense of core values. And we live by those core values. And those core values are of service. We're all about how do I serve the divine source and the collective in ways that are good and right, that serve the greater good of all, and have harm to none, including myself. It's not about being a martyr. It's not even about being like, oh, I'm of service, but I don't have any food to eat. It's not about like giving everything for free when you understand there's a financial exchange for things in this reality. You're still interacting with this reality. We're overlapping. Does that make sense? Because on the way out of 3D, we're all going through this together. We're vibrating through this together. It's all vibration, you understand? But in this law of polarity, there's these heavier polarized energies down on this other aspect. We're vibrating over here, so we understand we're elevating the frequency and the vibratory state of all beings as we hold and anchor in more light. So we know we still have to play with the money system. The money system is in alignment, by the way. Let me rephrase how I say this. So the money system is a representation of a universal law that is required for us to learn, of several universal laws. So while the money system itself in 3D was born to be a form of enslavement, to help people get enslaved, there is that aspect of it. Over here, we understand that the money system is a system of fair energy exchange. And that in order for us to pass through all these levels, we have to understand energy. We have to learn energy exchange because over here in 3D, we're just physical bodies. That's all we are. We don't even know if God's real in here. We go to churches and schools to study, Church of Scientology, whatever we do. There's no wrongness in any of it. It's just that we don't know. We don't know. Over here, there's no believing here. There's only knowing. See, when I'm around people and they're like, I believe in angels, I'm like, okay, good, you have your beliefs. I have my knowing. Because you want to know why knowing is so anchored in over here? What anchors in knowing? Yes! I don't know who said that, but that's exactly it. You experience things firsthand that no one can ever tell you are not true. You know? My brother died of an accidental drug overdose 15 years ago. And at that time, I wasn't communicating with the dead. I was married. I was smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. I was drinking 6 beers a day. I was 65 pounds overweight. I was living in Manhattan, working in corporate America. Good slave, 12-hour days, 15-hour days. End of the night, I'd be crying, going to my doctor, taking massive doses of pharmaceutical drugs, spending on my credit card, $150,000 in debt. That's how I lived. And no one thought that was strange. But when I started talking to my dead brother, Jeff, he'd be like, hey, watch your dead brother, Jeff. He thought it was a joke. He's like, there's no death. And he started showing me things, and we started having experiences that there was no way anyone was going to tell me it wasn't real. I mean, initially, I thought I was crazy, too. But after a while, there was just no way that was fake. And I just kept following that lead. The message was this, and you've heard it a million times in these rooms, and you'll hear it a million times more. The message was this. Does anyone know? Follow your joy. Follow your love. Your love, that's what's going to lead you here. That's what's going to anchor you in here. Just love. And it doesn't mean harm to self. I need to emphasize this again, because we get into our reality and we become martyrs, and we overgive, and we undercharge, we overdeliver, we undervalue ourselves. We do that in the spiritual community because we have belief systems like everything's supposed to be for free, and you have to keep giving, and then we martyr ourselves, and we end up bankrupt, and we don't take our time to do our own practice. So in order to anchor in 5D, you have to really get it. You cannot do any of this at your peril. You're one of the ones who have to be loving and honoring yourself, but you follow your love. You keep following your love. You follow your joy. Your joy is what anchors you here. Yeah? Make sense? Okay. Questions?